Sonos has been at the forefront of delivering great soundbars, and this here is the Sonos Beam Gen 2. It's a follow-up to the relatively well-received Gen 1 Sonos Beam, and this one comes with improvements such as Dolby Atmos, a 40% more powerful CPU, eARC support, and more. With all these improvements, is the Beam Gen 2 worth its $2,699 asking price? Let's find out. Before we get started, here's a quick word about good deals by KLGG, our official e-store. You can buy all sorts of awesome gadgets here at great prices, and you can even get 10 ringgit off on your first purchase with a minimum spend of 100 ringgit. You can also pay via 3-month 0% installments using IOU Pay or Atom. Visit the link in the description box below to start shopping. On the surface, the Beam Gen 2 looks the same as the Gen 1, but upon closer inspection, you'll see that the speaker grille is now made of polycarbonate instead of fabric. As usual of Sonos devices, the Beam Gen 2 looks very clean and premium with its matte finish. Its shape is on the blocky side and it's fairly tall. It measures at 69mm tall, 651mm wide, and 100mm deep. So I anticipate some difficulty in matching it with other household items if you care a lot about how your setup looks. I also want to note, however, that the matte finish on the top of the soundbar picks up dust and fingerprints very easily, so this will need a frequent wipe down. On top of that, this soundbar comes in white and black, so you have some options in case you really want to mesh this with the rest of your setup. Next, let's talk about the ports and setup process. The device comes with only one HDMI port, which supports HDMI 2.1 and eARC. We'll get into that a little bit later. There's also an Ethernet port, but the soundbar also supports Wi-Fi as well. The setup process was simple. I plugged it in, downloaded the Sonos app on my phone, and paired it with the Beam Gen 2. After that, it worked seamlessly without any problems. With that said, let's talk about features, and I want to get this out of the way first. The Beam Gen 2 has support for Google Assistant, but Sonos doesn't support it here, or at least that's what it says when I tried to pair it up with the app. There is a workaround to this by changing your account region in the settings, but it's still annoying that I need to do all this just to get a basic function like this to work. We have a smart TV that comes with Google Assistant anyways, so we use that instead. Anyways, with the app, I can connect my Spotify account to the Beam Gen 2 and have it play my favorite tunes and change over to outputting media from my TV effortlessly. I also sync the TV remote with the soundbar and I use it to control the volume output. This seems like a really mundane feature, but it's still one that I appreciate a lot. When it comes to sound quality, Dolby Atmos is everything on this device. With that eARC support and a new chipset that's apparently 40% faster than before, the Beam Gen 2 now comes with this fantastic feature, and boy do I enjoy it. Watching content that supports Dolby Atmos is of course fantastic. You really do get that atmospheric experience of cars whizzing past your ears and planes jetting over your head.
You gotta move faster, mate, now!
The soundbar doesn't have upward firing speakers and rely on 4 front-facing drivers to do the job. But they're configured into phased arrays that have 5 separate audio zones that are dedicated to delivering surround sound and height information. A downside, however, when it comes to films is the average vocal clarity. Ideally, I want vocals to be more crisp and forward than it is. Instead, it gets muddled just a bit by the bass and mid frequencies. These are things that can be improved a little through the app, however.
To see if we could become something more.
So when they needed us, we could fight the battles
that they never could.
Engage all defenses and get this man a shield.
With content that doesn't support Dolby Atmos, however, I find the audio to still be decent, but I'm more used to a system that has a dedicated or separate subwoofer, and this doesn't quite match up to that in terms of depth, but clarity is still top-notch.
Alright, Dom, what's next?
No matter how fast you are.
I am not to be compared to you.
No one outruns their past.
I am more easy, you trying your best to become me.
And mine. has caught up to me.
When it comes to music, you get decent clarity and sharpness. This is accented by heavy bass. Unfortunately, the soundstage isn't as well defined as I would have liked. The Beam Gen 2 makes up for this by being pretty loud, and I would reckon it makes for a decent speaker at parties.
Show me what'll happen when you let love win. When you let love win. When you let love win. When you let love win.
Moving on to gaming, there's minimal latency and I think audio sounds great. Action games sound the best, of course. The soundbar produces nice thumping effects when I hit baddies in Spider-Man Miles Morales. However, I still think that a system with a separate or dedicated subwoofer is the way to go if you want more depth when it comes to gaming.
Take him out! We can't go back to the round!
Gross! You escaped the prison convoy but stayed in Manhattan? Back home.
As a verdict, I still reckon a speaker with a separate soundbar will sound better and cost a fraction of the 2,699 ringgit price tag that it's demanding. But the SONOS Beam Gen 2 is still a good device if you need something sleek, compact, and supports Dolby Atmos. Not every content supports Dolby Atmos, however, so for everything else, the SONOS Beam Gen 2 still delivers pretty good audio. But that's just what we think about the SONOS Beam Gen 2. Let us know what you think in the comment section down below. This is Victor signing off. Until next time, bye bye.